Buenas tardes a todos. Bienvenidos a la segunda conferencia que tenemos hoy. En el caso de la carrera de Ingeniería en Sistemas Computacionales, tenemos el gusto de presentar la conferencia How to Write, Publish and Survive, Practical Advice on Technical Writing and Research Ground. Tenemos el honor, el gusto de presentarles a Xiaomen Mao, que es catedrático y miembro distinguido de la cátedra Early C. Williams, además de director del Centro de Investigación y Educación en Ingeniería Inalámbrica de la Universidad de Hamburg. Sus áreas de investigación incluyen redes inalámbricas, comunicaciones, multimedia, salud inteligente y redes eléctricas inteligentes. Es conferencista distinguido de la IEEE Communication Society, ComSom, del IEEE Council on RFID y del IEEE Vehicular Technology Society. Y es un investigador altamente citado por Clavirate en el campo de la informática. Recibió el premio a la excelencia en publicaciones de la Facultad de Ingeniería Samuel Hind 2025. Premio de Albur en 2025 y el premio a la investigación sobresaliente de IEEE MMTC en 2023. Un aplauso, por favor, a los presentes. Okay, please welcome. Okay, your space, your.
Thank you so much for the introduction and for hosting me. So before I start talking about the paper writing, if I may, I spend a couple of minutes on showing where I'm from, Auburn University. So this Auburn is the city, is a college town. So this is also the name of the city. So that's why we're more like State University of Alabama. But the State University of Alabama has been taken by another university. So that's why we call it Auburn University. It is from a poem, Deserted Village, by 18th century poet, Oliver Smith. It's a sweet Auburn, loveliest village of the plain. So here, this is the landmark of Auburn. There's a tower. It strikes every hour, an hour. And our battle cry is War Eagle. So before our football games, we will fly an eagle across the field. Yeah, and our mascot is Tigers, Auburn Tigers. So we were the twice national champion of college football, not soccer, but football. Yeah, and we have a tradition to roll the oak tree. We used to have two very old, like 150 years old oak trees. So when the team wins a game, especially a road game, so all people from Auburn will go there, throw toilet paper to the tree, so make it all white. So that's a tradition. Ranking-wise, we are the 66th among all universities, the college, and 33rd among public colleges. Yeah. Next. So I'm with the ECE department. So this is our building, Brown Hall, and so our department was established in 1891, and our first department chair, he happens to be a football coach of the university. Yeah, I don't know how he managed two different jobs. Yeah, and yeah, we have a very outstanding alumni, like Professor Vincent Poole. He was the Dean of Engineering at Princeton University, very big guy in information theory, signal processing, and yeah, and others. Yeah, next please. So in 2001, we got a very big endowment, $25 million from Samuel King. He was the president of Vodafone, a big telecoms company. And then with this money, we founded this wireless engineering research and education center. We also started an undergraduate program called the wireless engineering program Bachelor of Wireless Engineering program. It was ABET accredited. Later on, we have these two, one certificate program and specialization program for graduate and undergraduate students, respectively. Yeah. So some people from Auburn, if you watch NBA games, you must know this guy, Sir Charles Barkley. He was from Auburn. He played in Auburn basketball team, and then he went to the NBA, played 10 years. Now he's an anchor. So anyone knows this one? Yeah, he's Lionel Rich, the singer. Yeah, he was from Auburn too. Yeah, he wrote the "We Are the World" with Michael Jackson. Yeah, and this guy created Wikipedia, and this is our governor of the state, Alabama State, Professor Vincent Poole. This Tim Cook, CEO of Apple. Yeah, and we have a lot of people. They work for NASA because we have an aeronautic engineering department, and astronauts and the NASA officers are from Auburn. And Sunisa Lee, she's a Tokyo Olympic All-Star champion. So, and if you go to Washington D.C., in front of this Capitol Hill, so there's an oak tree. So that was the descendant of Auburn oak tree that is planted there. There's a badge. Yeah. Yeah. So you're all very welcome to come to Auburn to visit. And if you're a student, yeah, applying to graduate school, so you may consider Auburn, apply to Auburn. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. Okay. Now we come back to how to write papers. So I don't think I'm the right person. So to talk about this big topic. So, but I just want to share with you because my host want me to talk about some non-technical stuff. So I just want to share with you some of my experience and my thoughts, which might not be true. Okay. Yeah. Thanks. So yeah. So this is more like for students and young researchers. I'm not in position to advise other people, and more like my experience and loose thoughts, and it's more on paper writing, but not on doing how to do good research. Okay, that's another big topic. So yeah, I think probably you can guess I'm old. So I in my first conference paper was accepted by ICC in 1997. Okay, when I was in graduate school. So, and during that time it was very difficult. So we don't have access to the internet. We don't have access to conference proceedings and journals. They are stored in the library. We have to. It's not on internet. So information is very limited, and even when this paper was accepted, I don't have a passport. I don't have US dollars to pay the registration to attend the conference in Montreal. But this has been changed a lot. Now it's like even high school kids are writing papers and attending conferences. So we print the hard copy papers to mail it to the conference to get it reviewed there. And yeah, for slides we got like a plastic sheets and write. Yeah, it's very different time. So then my first journal paper was published when I almost finished my PhD study. And published in JSAC. So I was spent a lot of time on the project and on writing paper. So I remember that we had 55 different versions of the paper. Right? Eventually, it published here, and this is my first journal paper, and I got the best paper of JSAC. It's called Lionel Abraham. What is? Yeah, I forgot the name. Yeah, so the best paper of JSAC. So that encouraged me to continue my academia job search and to become a professor. Otherwise, probably I would go to the industry. Yeah. And I have a lot of people, role models and collaborators help me a lot on how to learn writing. And now I'm involved in a lot of conferences and journals, and I'm more experienced. Yeah, uh, it seems like a publishing paper is getting much easier for me. Yeah. So why we need to write papers, right? So if you are in academia, we have professors here. So in the previously we're talking about publish. Okay, like I read about this Shannon, Claude Shannon. So he was with Bear Labs. He go to the job every day, play chess, then go home. So and he has some papers, but he doesn't want to publish it. He hold the paper for a couple of years. Then some editor of a journal editor heard about like Shannon has a paper, then travel to visit him, say, hey, can we have your paper published in our journal? So that was the old days, very good times. Yeah. I also know people from like Bear Labs. They spent 2 years doing just write a book. That's it. So now this is impossible. You have deadlines, you have projects, you have. So it seems like publishing is like you should do in your spare time. So not in your. So initially it's publishing. Then later on we talk about publish or perish. So basically there's a tenure promotion process. Even you are tenured, there's a promotion. In many universities in the US, we have every 6 years have this post tenure review. So everybody will be reviewed how many papers you publish. So if you don't publish, then you perish. Okay. Then more recently it becomes like a publishing. You need to publish in good places, like a high impact journals or highly selective top tier conferences, or you perish. But now it's like you need to publish frequently. Again, yeah, a lot of papers. The number is there's a big inflation. So that's the reality. But it somehow shows the importance of writing papers. Like yeah, for academic success. Yeah. So if you're a student, then this is your building blocks of thesis dissertation. If you're a professional, you're a professor, you're a practitioner, then this will building blocks of your career. And yeah, if you get published, that means you're recognized by your peers in the community, not your. So as a graduate student, not just like your advisor say, oh, he's good, he can graduate, but you have a paper that shows like your work is recognized by the community, okay, by people outside. So it's also important evidence for job hunting. So those big companies, good companies with high salary jobs, they want to hire the best people. Then how do they know you are the best people? So as a graduate student, you work on projects, you publish, then this evidence that you are productive, you're good at the research, right? Yeah, thanks. And so I think it seems to me, okay, what makes a good paper? So it should be first. This is a root. You should do good research. I know people like got a lot of citations by writing survey papers. Yeah, but usually those papers will not be counted seriously, right? So you need to have good research, good outcomes, and your research should have a solid contributions, and then. But not just the technical content, but you also need to write it very well. It's like marketing. We all need to learn some kind of marketing techniques for promoting our work. Yeah, actually one of the two reasons for me, I'm very interested to distinguish lecture. So one is like this provide the opportunity for me to advertise our work, to publicize our work, talk to people. And also the other side is like we can serve our chapters, serve our members, and make new friends, right? But yeah, so marketing is very important. Okay, and for elements, the topic should be good, relevant, and important problems. the approach should be novel. Should be so. What's new comparing to the large amount of existing work? So what's new here? And your results should be good. Should you should choose like a baselines base to you should beat them. Okay, so we are 10 dBs better or something like that. Yeah, so that should be convincing. Okay, and then again writing because writing is very very important. Yeah. Yeah. So in in the last past like 20 plus years, I tried try to learn from the good papers and try different styles. So when I work with my students, you saw this, right? So yeah, so they always start one style we adopt is like always like you have a flow chart, your system architecture. Then you start from each component sequentially. So explain is how do we do this channel hopping, offset, removal? How do how do we do this high accuracy, low rank text? So that each will be a section. That is one way to write paper. So then later on, I found like my students are always writing paper like that. Then I think no, we should change, right? So yeah, it's like a lab report or whatever, sequential. So then I challenged them. So later on, we changed to this style. So we talk about challenges. What are the challenges? Then what are what are the existing solutions and what are our solutions, proposed solutions? Then each paper is supposed to have 3 challenges that will give you give readers a very good idea of what's new, what's the contributions in this paper. Yeah. So it'll be nice to like present a big picture. So to say why the so basically provide the context and put your problem, your work in a larger context. And then why this specific problem is important. And what is new in your proposed approach comparing to the existing work. And mainly through this study, what are the insights, what are the findings? Yeah, bullets 1, 2, 3, take home messages, right? Then you start with all the details and next. Yeah, sorry, this is a very busy slides, but yeah, I'll explain. So content and writing wise, right? So for beginners, like it's better to work on some like hot topic. Yeah, because you need to choose your direction. Direction is very important. If you choose the wrong direction, it will be waste of time and probably you spend a lot of time and efforts, but you get a very limited work done. Okay, so but if it's a hot topic, that means people have been already done the selection for you. So you know this is the hot area, promising direction. Everybody's working on it. So then for beginners, okay, so then you can focus on your own strengths. So this is a hot topic. So everybody is attacking the problem through different perspective, different approaches. Then what is my approach? What is my strengths? Yeah, so then I can bring some new aspect to the problem, right? So, and also because it's hot topic, there are a lot of papers. Then you can learn from a lot of papers. Okay, learn to understand the problem, understand challenges, and develop your own solution. And for beginners, if you just make a small improvement, that is good. Because I have a student at this stage. He's a student from Germany, and he's working on creating a radio map. So we don't see radio signal in this room, but actually there are radio signal. So we can create a 3D surface like to indicate the radio signal at each location in this 3D space. So that he's working on it. So he's starting with a neural radiance field nerve technique. But that has been studied and people have published and in the computer vision area, and some people have been using it in the wireless communications area. So, but he started working on this. He made some modifications to the loss function in the training model. he used some other improvements. Eventually, he got like 2 dB improvement in the radio map quality. I think that's okay. So we can publish a conference paper on. So that will be his first paper, right? So then he can, once he understand the field, understand this problem better, and he's more skilled with the techniques, programming, simulation, then he can start tackle like bigger problems. Yeah, for when I started as an assistant professor, so there's a lot of pressure like in publishing and obtaining funding. I thought about changing directions or whatever, but later on I decided I should focus on what I have, what I'm good at, what I have been doing since my graduate school, my dissertation work. So then this will be avoid the risk of failure. If you switch to a new area, could be a learning curve and time wasted in, or there's a risk there. So and if we work on the things we are familiar with, then we can ensure productivity, keep on, and build strength. So this build depth. Okay. So after tenure, after I was tenured, then I start to explore other directions because I'm tenured. So the university cannot fire me. So I can try things. If I fail, if there's a risk, it doesn't matter. I can afford it. Yeah, right. So then I start to work on smart grid problems. Okay, that's very different from communications systems. It's a power grid kind of power system. I started to explore like health problems, and also I start to work with collaborate with mathematicians. So yeah, and so don't put eggs in the same basket. So don't just work on a single type of problem, right? So you diversify, yeah, and yeah, we can pursue my own interest. So that is expand the breadth, so depth and the breadth. Okay, that's all we need. And on deciding like or like studying like what kind of problem we want to work on. So there's a very good analogy I learned from my postdoc host, Professor Tom Ho from Virginia Tech. So you have old bottles, you have new bottles, you have old wine, you have new wine, right? So there are 4 combinations. You have old bottle, old wine. That's not interest, no contributions. Like, we shouldn't do this kind of work. But you have old bottle, but you have new wine. That is something new. And you have a new bottle, but you have an old wine. And then you have a new bottle, new wine. Okay, the last one is the best. Then that means like you have a methodology and you have problem. You have new problem to solve an old problem. Sorry, you have new methodology, new methods to solve old problem. That is good contributions. Better way to solve an old problem. You have a old technology, but you apply it to a new problem. Or you have a creator like you're a trailblazer. You have new wine, new bottle, new methods, and new. That's the best case. But yeah, I think the only case that is bad is the old bottle, old problem, and also old methods to solve it. Yeah. Another thing I learned is like topics evolution. It's like a rising spiral. Okay, if you go to Vatican, you see the staircase. There's a rising circular, but it's getting higher and higher. So I learned this from my advisor, Professor Shiv Panwa. So he was that things will come back in 10 years around. Yeah, you work on some problem, then it becomes cold and nobody like it. Nobody's working on it. But after certain years, suddenly it will come back and everybody will jump to it. It becomes hot again. But it's a rising, okay, rising because we have new technology, we have new hardware, we have new methods to do it better. One example is cognitive radio. So I was working on cognitive radio like 20 years ago. Yeah, so then it quelled down. Many people switch to spectrum policy, some other things. Yeah, nobody is working on dynamic spectrum access, spectrum sharing. Very few people working on spectrum sharing. Okay, but now we are talking about AI-empowered communications. AI machine learning is very hard. So if you consider this, compare these two, they are exactly the same. So we have some like a shared radio spectrum space. Then we have some sensors to sense this, detect the usage of this spectrum. Then we have a brain decision maker to make decisions based on sensing results. Then we have a software-defined radio that is executioner to execute the decisions made by the brain. So now it's like with the brain is deep learning, machine learning, large language models. Yeah, but if you look at the system, it's the same. Yeah. So in our field, some people they like to dig out like old papers, 70 published like 70 years ago, 50 years ago, and then revisit it. And another example is this Shannon's idea, like communications. You have 3 levels. At the lowest level, we are trying to communicate, deliver bits, information bits, 0 and 1s, from transmitter to receiver over a transmission medium. Then the second level is like you want to deliver meanings, not just bits. Like I want to buy a car, I want to buy an automobile. It's the same meaning. So if we can, so that is the AI. A lot of AI work called semantic communications, whatever they are doing. So they will use AI model to understand the meaning of your information, your message, then transmit the meaning, the semantics to the receiver. Then you save a lot of bits, a lot of resources. You don't need to transmit exactly every bit to the receiver. Okay, so that's the second level. So people dig out this 70-year-old paper, then they make a lot of deal about it. So then the next level, the third level is like, so you want to, the ultimate purpose of communications, if it's like you want to see some effects. So basically, you want to see action taken according to the meaning you delivered at the receiver side. Okay, so that's the ultimate level, but no papers on this level at this level yet. So yeah, so some examples. Okay, so how a paper will be accepted? So it should work on timely problem, good research, solid contributions, good writing. So we talked about this in the previous slides. Yeah, and now more details about the writing. So in the introduction, we start with a big picture, provide the context, then narrow down to the specific problem. Yeah, so what are the challenges, what are people have done, related work, key related work, and what's new in our proposals, okay. And when writing related work, it's good to give credit to others. Yeah, as a junior, when I was a student, I was hesitating like about praising a related work, because I felt like that may make my paper looks like nothing, right? Okay. But actually, it's not. So we should give credit to other people, to our prior work, related works. It won't hurt you, yeah. But you need to, yeah, distinguish from this. So it clearly single out. So what's new in your technique? Yeah, and it's better not to write like a technical report. Okay, so laundry list. Yeah, but better to distill it to like challenges and problems and solutions. And in conclusion, one mistake I made a lot because I wrote the conclusion last. I wrote all other sections then but I felt like it was very difficult to make it different from the abstract. Yeah, so but it should be different. Don't repeat the abstract, right? So basically, you think in this paper, because when people read this paper, they will forget about a lot of details. So there are few things you want them to remember about your paper. So that should go to the conclusions. Okay, so And references, yeah. So yeah, yeah, it's important to pick the right references, because sometimes as myself, I also serve as an associate editor of journals and the ESA of journals. So usually if I want to find a reviewer for this paper, so I would look at the references and pick a postdoc or maybe a senior PhD student or assistant professor of those the references, invite them to review the paper. So that is very important. Yeah. Next, please. So some logistics. So you choose a tool you like, okay, like Word or LaTeX, but usually there's a bias, like reviewers like LaTeX written papers. Okay, it looks more professional. The math looks beautiful. So I know people like when they look at the Word generated math, they like it. So you give it a bad kind of impression. And yeah, I think we can go now this. Yeah, so basically read the information for authors carefully. You should know all the requirements. Don't violate it. Okay, so for example, some journals they double blind, so you shouldn't put author names in your submission. If you put there, it will be rightly rejected. You're wasting some time. And most recently, we have a paper accepted by HOP transactions on mobile computing. They have a very special policy. So if you have appendix, so you shouldn't put appendix in your paper. It will be submitted through another channel separately through like a supplementary materials. So you should. We didn't read about it, so then our paper was unsubmitted. We have to resubmit it. So basically, that will waste time. Yeah. And yeah, so we are in a world of like peer review. So we are reviewing other people. They also reviewing ours. Like no matter it's like an annual review for your job or it's like a paper publication. Yeah. So our papers are reviewed. Actually, like three reviewers, three independent reviewers for each paper. Okay. So basically, it's a battle between us, between our reader and the reviewer. If you win, then your paper will be accepted. Then how do you win? You win by convincing the reviewers that this is a good paper, it should be published, right? So it's very easy to get angry when you read those reviews. Okay, especially the poor reviews and with bad attitude. So I still remember I had a paper got rejected. One reviewer says, "Oh, this is rubbish." I still remember it. So yeah, but no matter what, yeah, in the review process, our fate, the fate of our paper is in the hands of the reviewers. If they let you go, then you're published. If they kill you, then you'll be killed. So we need to somehow maintain a positive attitude towards the reviews. Yeah, once I was writing I have a survey paper. It was reviewed by 7 reviewers, and each reviewer gave me like 20 plus comments. Each one I need to address. Eventually, the paper was from 10 pages to 19 pages. It's more. I got like 50, 60 pages of a response. It's very, but when I write the response, I becomes kind of, I become angry or whatever. But I have to calm down, go out, take a walk, then come back, calm down. You should, attitude is very important. You should not take it personally, yeah. And read between the lines. Sometimes the reviewer was thinking of something, but the review comments was about something else. So they don't want to. Maybe it's not technically or politically right or whatever. He or she doesn't want to say it, but it's hidden in the review comments. So read between the lines. What's the real meaning of the reviewer. What's the real things he changes, edits he or she wants to see in my revised paper? Yeah, yeah. So it's read between the lines, and sometimes it's because they read the review in a hurry, so it's not very precise. But you need to guess what he wants to see, and address all the comments. Don't miss anyone. Okay, and yeah. So it's okay to say my work is not perfect. Yeah, don't try to no, this is wrong. I can fix this. So yeah, but what you want to show is that your paper has strengths, has contributions, but it's not perfect. It's fine. Yeah, yeah, and yeah. So some additional thoughts. Yeah. So when writing paper, always think about counterintuitive results. So that is the gold. That's the best thing. I yeah. For all the paper I wrote, maybe only a few. Yeah, but the more the better. Okay. So counterintuitive results. One example is this paper. This paper. Yeah. Sorry, this is wrong. 2001. This should be 2001. I was working on this last night, so 2001. Yeah, this was published in Infocom 2001. Okay, uh, it was a very nice written paper. So basically, it says it talks about an ad hoc network. So basically, it's like everybody is moving around, with mobility like a battlefield. The soldiers are carrying communication devices. There's no infrastructure, no cellular towers, whatever. So they have to relay for each other's messages, communications. So it's a very dynamic moving around network and no infrastructure. So one big problem is mobility. So for communications, we need a steady link between the transmitter and receiver. But they're moving around, they're going far away from each other, then link will be broken, right? So then everybody thinks mobility is bad. But they say, in this paper, they say mobility is good. It improves the capacity of this network. Why? Yeah, they are talking about a special case like the message can tolerate a long delay. So if everybody has a memory, so when I close to Mrs. Uh, Jesus, so I can exchange my data with him, then store it. Then next time I went to another node, I look at in the buffer, so what are the messages from Ms. Jesus to that person, I can deliver them. So in this case, then every node is moving around, but it's serving as a data ferry, like a ferry carrying data around. So if you can tolerate delay, then the capacity will increase. Yeah, so this is a very big counterintuitive results, and it kind of opened a new area. Thousands, tens of thousands, huge amount of papers. People are working on this. They try to extend this work. So yeah, and yeah, especially if we are working on machine learning. Okay, so you see there's a model, then there's a wireless communication problem. Then you apply that model to this problem. So it's putting A and B together. So this usually, if in the early stage, then this still helps. But now people are very familiar with machine learning and whatever. So this may not be enough. You need to have think about some like new challenges, new hidden gems. Okay, so you can change the model. So you can, based on the wireless problem, you make changes. Okay, to the model to make it work better. So that will be a good contribution. And the review process is always noisy and imperfect. So even now people using AI to generate reviews. So yeah, but so if it's we can think of this as a communication channel. It's a lossy channel. So every packet you transmit, there's a probability, packet loss probability. You send 10 packets, then maybe 5 will be lost and the 5 will get through. That's a good put. right? Good put. So then how to increase your productivity numbers given such an imperfect review process? It's like the communication channel. So we have noise interference, we have packet loss, bit errors. Okay. Then to get a good throughput, I stole this figure from my communication systems textbook. Okay, so to get good high good put, that means you more papers publish good paper. So two things we can do. One is to do this matched filter. So that means you need to understand the channel. You need to how to write your paper, how to deal with the reviewers, how to, it's like a match filter. Okay, you adapt yourself to the channel, and the other one is like you need to increase your input rate. So like in the US, our proposal funding rate is like less than 10%. You write 10 proposals, maybe you're lucky you get one funded. Then what if you want to have two? Then you can submit 20 proposals. So that's a similar analogy. If you can send more, then you increase your good. But the more effective way is to do this matched filter. Yeah. So you need to adapt your writing, your system, your research to this system. Yeah. Next, please. Yeah. Next page, please. Next. Well, yeah, yeah, okay, yeah. So each conference, each journal has its own like character and own community. Like there's a ICC GlobeCom community, there's a InfoCom community, there's a machine learning conference there, there's community. So if you want to, this is like the matching filter kind of. If you want to publish, you need to read their papers to learn how that in that community people write papers, and know your readers, know your community. Yeah, that's very important. And so it will be better to maintain a pipeline. So you have one, you're reading new papers to forming some ideas, but you have papers that is you're writing. Okay, then you have papers under review. You have papers like being like under revision. So basically, once you have a pipeline, you maintain very good productivity. Okay, yeah, and timing. So conferences have the deadlines, and journal special issues have deadlines. Mark your holiday, your break, whatever schedule, your travel schedule. Yeah, to along this kind of conference the deadlines. You don't want to have a very good work, but you miss the deadline. That would be really bad. Yeah. So I like every summer I work very hard with my students. So we like submit 5 papers to InfoCom. The deadline is always July 31st. So after July 1st, 31st, I let them go. The new semester will start in like 2 weeks. They have 2 weeks to whatever, to have fun, to travel, whatever. Yeah. And quality and quantity. So we always should maintain the quality of our paper, but quantity is also important. So we cannot guarantee like every paper is a strong paper, is a star paper. But the bottom line is like every paper you should have some contributions. You are confident, you are proud to talk about. No matter it's a small 2-page paper, 1-page extend abstract or a long paper. Right? So that's the bottom line. Okay, yeah, and be careful about with the collaborations. Collaboration is good because you can increase your productivity. You cause the papers with other people. But be very careful because this co-authorship is very serious. So if something wrong with the paper, so every author will be affected. One example is like when I was the TPC chair of InfoCom, so 2018, so we got 10 plagiarism cases. So then all the authors will be banned for like 1 year. They cannot submit anything to HOE. Then one paper, for one of the cases, then the first author wrote us, say, oh, it's all my fault. I did this, but the other courses they don't know about this. The other courses are like a dean of a very prestigious university. He said, I don't know, the student is copying from other paper, but this is no use. So you put your name there, you're responsible for all the consequences, good or bad. So yeah, so be careful. We should make sure we know our collaborator. We know that he's a reliable, good guy with good ethics. No, otherwise, think about it twice about putting your name as a co-author, right? Also, it's try a piece of work, a body of work. So that is important. So not just a single paper. You can grow from this single paper to multiple papers. Then yeah. So then, what's the measure of success? So to be honest, I don't know. Yeah, we can say like annual evaluation with number of citations, H index, awards, but I think it's an open problem. It's a subjective, and nobody knows how to evaluate authors. The recent trends is like there are people, uh, some very productive people, like they have 150 papers, 200 papers per year. Every 2 days, every one day. But now, like people are against such authors. So, for example, for IEEE fellow promotion, then this there will be these cases will be reviewed separately and under more tougher screening, and reviewing. Yeah, yeah. Too many may be a bad thing now. So I don't know how to do a good evaluation. Yeah. Next page, please. Oh, can we go back? Yeah. Yeah. Go back. Yeah. Here. Yeah. So next, I will basically discuss two examples. One is a conference, one is a journal I'm familiar with. I was a TPC chair, then general chair of Infocom, and I'm currently the vice chair of the steering committee. So yeah, Infocom is a very top tier conference in networking communications. So it always maintain acceptance ratio of 19%, so lower than 20%. So, okay, so every year it's like 1,500, 1,600 submissions. Then there will be 200, 300 accepted papers. There are 2, 3 TPC chairs, and the EDAS chair managing these information systems, and 50 area chairs, and 400 TPC members, about like 50 advisory TPC members. Then to promote a good review, so every year give like 100 awards for distinguished TPC members based on their review. Yeah, and it adopts this triple blind review process. Probably the only conference adopt this, meaning the authors do not know who are the reviewers, and the reviewers do not know who are the authors. Yeah, so basically, and also the only person are these TPC chairs and these vice chairs. They know which paper is assigned to whom to review. So it's all, and it adopted this automated review assignment system. So that was in 2015. I was the vice chair, and the TPC chair was Baochun Li from University Toronto, and he was doing a sabbatical in Hong Kong, so he was building this system, review assignment system. I was helping him with the data testing. So the idea is that we ask each TPC member to upload 30 represented papers, so PDF files. Then we analyze these 30 papers, break it down to keywords, to words, the entire paper, analyze using latent semantic indexing. Okay, so and then we have 1,600 submissions to be reviewed. We do the same thing to those manuscripts. Then we compute a suitability score for each paper and each TPC member. Okay, so yeah, if I'm an expert in FID sensing, then there's a paper in FID sensing, then this suitability score will be high for this link. If the paper is on optical communications, then it will be low because I know my 30 uploaded papers doesn't have any information about optical communications. Okay. Then with this suitability score, we do like a maximum weight matching. So on one side, you have this 400 TPC members. On the other hand, other side, you have 1,600 submitted papers. So we do this matching, max weight matching, to match reviewer with the paper to maximize this suitability score. So this way we can make sure that the paper is assigned to the good hands, to the experts. Yeah, and without human intervention. So sometimes there are politics. Yeah, you want to kill that paper or something. That is your friend. You want to help, but all this will be excluded. Okay. Yeah. Then we solve this optimization, maximize the maximum weight matching. Yeah. Then got an optimal solution. Then yeah. Next page, please. And this is a review process. So we have TPC chairs. Okay. So there's a early reject. There's a 50 area TPC chairs. So they will each one get 30 papers to handle. Then they will quickly look at paper to early reject those like a poor quality, violation of the double blind requirement and those kind of things, out of scope. Then these papers will be assigned to TPC members. Okay. Then we have a regular TPC, we have advisory TPC. So those are the people. So last few days, if a paper still need more reviews, then these guys will be assigned. They can do a quick review. Yeah. Then after that, so we have this TPC, area TPC make recommendations. So 30 papers assigned to me. I will say these papers will be rightly accepted, and this will be rejected. But the paper in the borderline papers will be discussed at the TPC meeting. So every year there is the weekend before Thanksgiving, so we have a in-person TPC meeting, usually like 200 people attending. So it's divided into groups, then discuss those borderline papers. So which one will be rejected and accepted. Yeah. So it's a very rigorous review process, and it avoid like a human intervention. Okay. Yeah. Next, please. And it looks like Infocom likes the forward-thinking papers, emerging topics. Yeah, so and also rigorous papers, but the results should be repeatable. So now there are a lot of Infocom papers. They also submit the data sets and the code so other people can use. I think a very high portion. A few years back, it was already like over more than 20% machine learning papers. Yeah. Yeah. Next, please. Yeah. Another example is that I'm familiar with is this TCCN. The transactions are cognitive communications and the networking. Yeah. Next is an example of a journal. Okay. So the scope, if you look at this, is a cognitive radio actually. So we want to have share the spectrum radio resources. So we are sensing it, then we make decision, we reconfigure to change it. So it's the cognitive loop. And it has 4 areas: traditional cognitive radio research, spectrum policy, spectrum sharing, coexistence. Then we have AI-empowered communications, networking, and resource management. Yeah. So it was relatively young transactions. It was launched in 2015. Initially, there's a special track at a special section at a JSAC. Then after a few years, it was so successful, so it was split out and spin off, become an independent transaction. And it's co-sponsored by Communication Society and the Signal Processing Societies. And these are the previous EICs. So I'm the third one. So my term will be over in 2026. So the impact factor, we got our first impact factor in 2019, 4.5. Then it peaked in 2022, 8.6. Then now it's 7.0. The decrease, there are two reasons for the decrease. Okay, so but this is very good. Okay, among the IEEE journals, but the decrease from 8.6 to 7. Two reasons. One reason is that one cause is that the formula was changed. Okay, so the change of formula affect almost all the journals. Okay, you see all the journals have a lower impact factor. Yeah. Another reason is that we are growing. So we, when I started, I started in 2023. So we had like 360 paper submissions every year, and 4 issues. Each issue probably 10 papers. Now we have like 22,000 papers, so submissions per year, and we publish 6 issues per year, and each issue we publish like 50, 60 papers. Yeah, so it's a lot. Okay, but it's still like ranked Q1, like a very high ranking. Okay, in journals. Yeah, next please. Yeah, I think next. Next. Yeah, so here you can see our comparison with other major communication society journals. Yeah, their impact factor and their site score. So we are pretty good. Yeah, next please. Yeah, next. And so how about the impact factor this year, right? So we were 7.0 last year. So how about this year then? We have this increase in usage. That means downloading from the IEEE Explorer, and the citation increase. But the bad news is that we publish more paper. The denominator is also bigger, increase. So we don't know. We'll know in late May or early June. Yeah. Next, please. Yeah, the last slide I want to mention is this. So there are a lot of impact in AI. So then what is the IEEE policy, right? We should know this too. Yeah, so basically any intelligent information materials should be generated by the author, not by the AI, and should be validated. Okay, so yeah, so it's okay to improve the language, like check grammar errors, that kind of thing, but no data, no intelligent content allowed by AI. And AI generated reviews are not allowed because it violates the confidentiality of the submitted manuscripts. Those should be confidential. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Next, please. Yeah. So it's like a battle between our authors and the reviewers. Everybody wants to kill you. So this is your advisor. Okay, you need to convince your advisor the paper is good, and you can should submit it. Then you have reviewers. But if you win, then it will be accepted. Yeah. So, okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
Doctor, you're welcome. This is your house. Here, our school. Sorry for the students. We have some situations, but we hope that your knowledge, your experience, help our community to have better papers. So here is our teacher, Josué Iván, who is the boss of the community systems. Please.
Bien, pues agradecemos mucho. ¿Tú puedes ir a la traducción? Sí, bueno, si quieres, quiero agradecerles mucho que hayan acompañado a esta importante serie de conferencias. Pues una disculpa enorme por la situación que se presentó, ¿verdad? Pero pues teníamos en colaboración con los compañeros de la IEEE, por favor, acompáñenos aquí enfrente. Con los compañeros de la IEEE, con Jesús y Diego, pues teníamos preparado una bonita semana académica, ¿no? Pero bueno, no, que no decaigan pues los ánimos y vamos a continuar. Agradecemos mucho las facilidades que dieron para tener esta conferencia, estas dos conferencias muy importantes. Y pues bueno, tenemos pendiente también una con ustedes, ¿verdad? Entonces vamos a reprogramar, vamos a seguir colaborando si ustedes nos lo permiten. Agradezco mucho también a Lino por la interpretación y pues a ustedes por la asistencia y también muchísimas gracias. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Acérquense compañeros para una segunda fotografía y ya poder finalizar.